Hello campers, and welcome to our summertime slasher series. I'm Stevie Slaughter.
And I'm Stevie Slaughter.
Today we will be reviewing and talking about 1983's Sleepaway Camp, directed by Robert Hiltzik. After a horrible boating accident kills her family, shy, sullen Angela moves in with her eccentric Aunt Martha and protective cousin Ricky. One summer, Martha sends the kids to Camp Arac. Soon after their arrival, bizarre, increasingly violent accidents claim the lives of various campers. Who is the twisted individual behind these murders? The disclosure of the murderer's identity is quite shocking. I have watched this movie twice before this in my lifetime, once as a child, and once as a teenager at a sleepover. I was forced, because I think I have trauma in regards to this movie.
Yeah.
I remember the ending, because there's no way you can forget the ending, but I literally blanked out each time everything that happened. And this time I went into it just watching it almost like a brand new movie. Going into this, we're on a lake. It's fall. It is not summer.
Yeah.
There are 3 teenagers in a speedboat, correct?
Yeah.
Starting out, there is someone behind the wheel that actually knows what they're doing. And then
There's a young girl who, of course, is inexperienced with driving one of the boats.
but she insists.
Yeah.
She's
like,
like,
let me do it. I want to do it.
Yeah, peer pressure.
Yeah.
And of course, the one who knows how to drive it is a boy. And she's a pretty little blonde girl. So he's like, okay.
Sure.
Eventually, after he does tell her initially, no, I can't allow you, and she begs and begs and begs and begs, and he succumbs to peer pressure, teenage peer pressure.
Yeah.
Later, we see in the lake there is a man with 2 children, a boy and a girl. They're in a sailboat. Is the man initially in the water?
No, they're all on the boat, but then the kids want to prank him, so they push
They
him.
all jump out.
So then the boat flips over.
Okay, and we go back to our teenagers,
Yeah.
and
The girl, again, does not know how to drive. So instead of pushing on the brake, they accelerate forward. And for some reason, of course, it's like horror movie cliche. They don't look in front of them when driving the boat. They're constantly looking at each other. And there's a girl being pulled behind on a boat on a raft. And she's like, hey, there's somebody in front of us. Even though she's all the way back there, how can she see in front of them? They can't even see.
I think they're not initially paying attention as they switch places.
Yeah.
And she's not on a raft, she's on skis, she's on jet skis,
Oh, yeah.
being pulled behind them. We didn't relay that to y'all, but yes, there was someone being pulled, on this boat behind them on skis.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is strange that because they're switching, they don't really see in front of them until too late. The girl on the skis starts screaming that there's someone in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't react quickly enough, and the people in front of them are the boy and the girl and the man. Oh, but before this, actually, someone comes outside to speak to them. They're in the lake. It's another man. He comes down and he tells them that they're expecting their aunt to come. The aunt is supposed to show up. She's on her way and she's bringing their cousin. So he's standing out there while this is happening. Poor thing sees all of this happening. The boat actually runs over the man and the 2 children. All you see is the body of the man, I do believe, floating face down. And then you also see, because the kids were wearing life jackets, you see a life jacket that has been kind of chewed up by the boat and is a little bloody. And then we switch to 8 years later. We're at this kind of big, nice house, and we go outside, and other than the ending, this is just the aunt. I guess it's the aunt is the one whose house it is. This woman is so
Off-putting.
and odd.
Yeah.
I can't tell. I mean, initially, when you watch her, you think, boy, she's off. She's not correct. She does this.
That won't do at all.
Goodness, no. No, that wouldn't do at all.
It's just, she is the freakiest lady. The actress who did this did a really good job at it, because she just gives you the creeps from the get, man. It's just, but you go into the home, it's a nice big home, and there is the aunt, and she's an eyeball to say the least. She's rushing around. Apparently the kids are going to go to summer camp. A boy and a girl come downstairs whenever he calls, or she calls. It's Ricky and Angela. So initially, because like I said, this is my 3rd time watching this, I assumed that the boy was the boy from the lake and the girl was the girl from the lake, but that's not true. The aunt is Aunt Martha, who was coming to see them. The boy is her son, Ricky, and Angela is the girl from the lake. She says that she's sending them to Sleepaway Camp, and she has their paper. Won't do it all, just here. She's like, here's your she had their physicals. I guess you had to have physical to go to camp. So she personally has their physicals, and I guess that's going to play into something later. You'll see. But she sends them on their way to sleepaway camp with their physicals, and then they get to camp. And what's their first initial meeting in camp? Everybody just gets off the...
Yeah, they're all running, like,
Yeah.
very quickly for some reason, like, down, away from the buses.
Yeah, and this seems to be the same, which is like, why would you send these children to this lake where
Yeah.
this accident happened to begin with? But it's the same lake where the accident happened,
Yeah.
which is jarring in itself. It's like, why would you send these kids back?
Yeah, because those kids were old enough, they would remember
Exactly.
the accident
Yes,
happened.
exactly. Oh boy, the things that happened at this camp. Now, this is the 80s, and there's a lot of creepy stuff that goes on. I mean, that's like a theme in a lot of 80s horror movies, is just the creep factor, and it's very blatant. Oh, I hate that. I mean, I'm used to it because I grew up with it, but one of my children having to watch it is a little disconcerting. Things aren't made that way now. So they get to the camp, and we have the cook in the kitchen. He is our first fatality.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. He is a complete creep.
Yeah, right off the bat.
He's like trying to take Angela off. And the entire time, Angela is completely silent. She does not say a word the entire time. Right? She's silent. It really ticks people off because they talk to her. She does not speak back. She stares at them unblinking. It is so creepy. This actress did a fabulous job. She was so creepy. Yeah. Then what happened when he takes her off?
He takes her off to like the pantry area of the kitchen because what happened was Angela would not eat any of the food that they had at the camp, and a few of the counselors were worried about her like not eating. So one of the male counselors took her back to the kitchen area to find her something that she would like to eat in case she was just like a picky eater, I guess. And the cook takes her back into the pantry area, and that's where he starts to be gross. But thankfully, at the last second, Angela's cousin, Ricky, comes back there and saves her, and they get out there.
Yeah, Ricky does try his best in this
Yeah.
entire movie to take care of Angela.
He tries to defend her a lot.
Yeah, he tries. Poor little thing. The cursing in this movie is really... There's a lot of cursing.
Yeah.
Forewarned. I mean, it's horror, so of course. But, yeah. So, she is able to dodge that creep.
Yeah.
The deaths in this movie, I give them props for the originality of death. It's not just like, let me, chop you up, let me stab you. This fellow, okay, I've never seen a pot so big in my life. And I'm not talking like wide, I'm talking this tall pot.
He had to get on a step stool to get up to the pot,
So our creep is cooking in the kitchen, and he's trying to add spices. You think, because he goes back and he has to find something in the pantry. He's in there getting some kind of spices or something like that. He comes back and he's up on the step stool and he's shaking the spices in, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it is the weirdest death ever.
Yeah.
Somebody jerks, and you don't see who, all you see his hands. Somebody's jerking the step stool out from underneath him.
Hey, what the doing? Oh, you little shit! When you get down from me, I'm gonna rip your head off!
This pot is gigantic. He's barely over the top of the pot.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
He gets dragged off the stool because the stool is dragged out from underneath him, and for some reason, I think it's like a shelf behind the pot, he's hanging on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Help, Ben! Ben, get the hell out of here! Ben! Help, Ben! Ben!
Both hands.
Yeah, so once he gets dragged off of that, he initially goes to grab the pot, and it gets dragged down with him, so when he is falling onto the floor, the boiling stuff in the pot gets drenched onto him, and he's like, has 10th degree burns, pretty much. He's just one big,
He's screaming in
Yeah.
agony.
Yeah.
And
I will say the special
he is
effects
alive
were
when he
really good.
leaves, but I bet he wishes he was dead.
Yeah.
He is alive when he leaves. The ambulance comes, they take him away, and our shady camp owner, oh boy, this guy, he's the worst.
Yeah.
He goes and basically bribes the other people who work in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Why did he bribe them? Like not to tell him about any of this kind of stuff happened, wasn't that?
Yeah.
That's why he bribed him. Yeah. What was it? How much he offered him? $6 more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
$6.
is not enough to pay somebody's silence, but you know,
They
it's
took
the
it.
80s.
It was 1983. So I guess $6 more on your check. Hey, that's a lot for back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. So he bribed them to keep everything quiet.
Yeah,
Because he was
'cause
trying to
he
keep
wanted the
the
campers
campers
to-
to run off.
Yeah,
in
to be
fear.
freaked out.
Mhm.
So they want to keep it quiet.
And that's basically what he does throughout this whole movie. Is like, let's keep it quiet. Let's keep it quiet.
Even though there are police officers, there's people from like the ambulance that comes and takes people away, like all these authority figures. Yet they just leave. They don't.
There's a lot of holes in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of holes. It's still entertaining though. Just some of that's what I give this movie props for, and I'm going to say it again, is because it is the most original deaths in slasher movies I think I've ever seen. The next thing that happened is Kenny and Mike like mock Angela. She's very strange, silent, unblinking, kind of freaky. Paul defends her, and he becomes one of Angela's kind of like favorite people at camp because he defends her. But Kenny later winds up drowning. And where we watch this is the one thing that bothers me is the other scenes. I remember 2 scenes from this movie as a kid, but one that always sticks with me is when they find Kenny drowned. They move because he's in a canoe. He falls out and he drowns. They find him the next day. The canoe is upside down. So how they find him is they move the canoe. What we watched it on, it was a close-up of the dead body. The next day, they find Kenny, they flip the boat over, and I don't like the way that they did this one that we watched because it's an extreme close-up of his face. A little tiny snake climbs out of his face. But when I remembered as a kid, they flip it over, and it's further away. It's not a close-up of the face. They flip the boat over, and all this stuff comes running out from underneath the boat. It's like bugs and frogs and snakes slithering everywhere. It just sticks in my mind. Maybe I'm crazy, but I remember that as a kid. That one, because it scared me so much when I was a kid, just all the snakes and everything, you know, and just slithering out from underneath the boat when they flipped it over. It was just horrifying. I'm not mixing that up with another movie, but it just seems like it was just in that movie. It is ruled accidental. I keep doing this, but it's ruled accidental again by the camp owner because he wants to keep the campers. Yeah, he wants to keep the campers going. After that, Paul asks Angela to a movie. He kisses her. These kids, Billy throws children on top of a roof.
Yeah, that's wild.
Okay, it's like one of the cabins. That's one of the things that blow me away is these kids did whatever. It's like they had...
There was barely any supervision.
I know, there was camp counselors, but they seemed like they were basically all the same age.
Yeah.
They were like, I swear they were high schoolers. They weren't even college kids. It didn't seem that way. They were all so young. And I think, was he a camp counselor? He was up on the roof. Yeah. So the kids are up there on a roof of one of the cabins, and they're throwing water balloons at people. So they throw a water balloon at Angela. Later, Billy goes to the public toilet. You know, there's like multiple stalls, correct? And then what happens?
And then our killer somehow knows that he's allergic to like bee stings.
But the thing is like, at no point is that stated.
Yeah, they never made it known that he was allergic.
I know, it's no plot hole. You know, that's a hole, you know.
So our killer rips open the screen and sticks a beehive, which it looked like wasps or like hornets.
But it was on a stick.
Yeah.
How did you get...
It was a hive on a stick.
I
don't
don't
know how that would work out.
But it was straight. It looked like hornets.
Yeah.
It was not bees.
Yeah.
When it comes in the window.
But then finally, whenever he gets killed, they cut to him lying on the floor, and his face is pretty much like the hive now, where like bees are crawling all over it, but it wasn't originally bees.
Yeah. It came in that window.
Yeah.
It was not bees.
There are many holes to this movie, and a lot of it does not make sense. So.
Yeah. That was just one thing that really stuck out with me because it's so blatantly obvious that it's hornets on the end of the stick because they're bigger. They have huge wings.
Yeah.
And then the bees that you see ultimately on his face where and it was a small hive, so there's no way there could have even been that many bees in this tiny, and it looked like a wasp nest. It was not a beehive.
Yeah.
It was a wasp, you know, one of those paper, like, roundishy ones that you see hanging from a tree that comes in the window with wasp on it, and then he's laying there covered in bees like you would see in a beehive that, like, beekeepers have. Anyway, he's dead. After the bee death, with Mel freaking out again, but still trying to keep everything kind of tamped down, Paul kisses Angela again, and it apparently, we take it that it freaks her out. At the beginning of the movie, there was a man in the water with the 2 kids, and a man that came outside to speak to them. So after this kiss, she has a flashback of 2 men in the bed together, and there's nothing like blatant or anything, they're just shirtless in the bed, and they're just like lovingly caressing each other and staring at each other.
Like just holding each other. But the entire scene is so weird because
You're like, wait.
Yeah, both of the kids are just
laughing in the doorway. That's what they're doing. Yeah,
they're just giggling in the
like
doorway,
staring at this.
It's so odd.
I know. It's like they're making out in the bed, kind of, and there's 2 kids, a boy and a girl, standing, and initially you could tell it's the boy and the girl that were in the lake, and they're standing in the doorway and they're giggling, just like incessantly giggling. And then it cuts to both of the kids being in the bed, and they're just sitting up in the bed,
and like he's just
pointing. He's just like the camera is spinning around the bed, And just like initially they're just standing there or sitting there on the bed looking at each other, and then the boy is just pointing incessantly at her like that.
It's so odd.
It
This
is.
whole movie is so
I mean, I
weird.
understand by the end what they're getting at, but it's just a very, I don't know, it's hard to put words to how strange it is.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing that happens is we haven't mentioned Judy. Judy is an antagonizer.
She's the bully
She's brutal.
of the
She's-
camp.
Her and another, I think it's actually a camp counselor, they just freak out on her. The fact that it's one scene where the camp counselor comes up to Angela. The camp counselor, I don't even know her name. She comes up and Judy is talking to Angela, of course, berating her, giving her a hard time and stuff. And once again, Angela is doing that thing where she just stares at you unblinking and does not speak a word, even though somebody's speaking to you. It enrages that camp counselor. Like, she's like grabbing Angela and shaking her. You know, just it makes everybody so angry that she just stares at people and doesn't say a word when they're speaking to her. I mean, it is kind of rude. But I couldn't, and this was a counselor now. This was not another child her same age. This was somebody older than her in charge of other people. And that, she just lost it. And did she slap her or did she just shake her?
I think she just shook her.
Yeah, I feel like that was the next level of it.
Yeah.
And this actress did a good job. She got mad, real mad. But that's not Judy. Judy is also a kid at the camp. She's just real kind of nasty, and she's just like kind of nasty to a lot of people. It's not just Angela, but she really cannot stand Angela. And she hates all the attention that Angela gets, because even though Angela is like this, it seems like people still try to like befriend her and interact with her. She seems to be kind of jealous of Paul giving her so much attention. So, because Angela is the way she is, Paul, even though he likes her a lot, he does not like that she's so standoffish, or she doesn't share in the want to have a relationship or be physical with him. So eventually Angela catches Paul kissing Judy. And you know that can't go well, correct?
And in that scene where Angela finds Judy and Paul both kissing in the woods.
There's like a trail, so it's like
Yeah.
easily found.
Yeah. The funny part is whenever like Angela kind of just walks off, Paul is still there with Judy, and he says that
You're a real scumbag, Judy. You know that?
You, Ricky. You're just jealous.
Poor Angela. She does nothing but like just give her the hardest time. So after this, everybody is forced to go to the lake. During this whole time, Angela stays completely dressed. She has shorts and a shirt on. You know, she does not want to get in the water. It freaks her out. She doesn't want to get in the water. And of course, I mean, look what happened to her as a child.
Yeah,
She
from
does
her
not.
past trauma, she doesn't
you
like
do
the
not
water.
want to get back in that lake after what happened to you. So Judy and the girl who that screamed in her face and shook her. I think this is at that time where she checks her, right? When
Yeah,
she's
she's-
waiting next to the water. Everybody else is out there swimming. She's the only one sitting on the sideline. And so, like I said, the girl's a counselor, and she loses it on her. And somebody has to like pull her off of her. But anyway, they drag her to the water and throw her in. They throw her in the lake. And was it Ricky or Paul that
it
pulled
was
her out of the water?
Ricky, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, I think it was a camp counselor helping Ricky pull her out. But this entire time, while Angela was being thrown into the water, Ricky was being jostled by the guy who owns the camp, because he's talking about like,
He's blaming Ricky for all the murders and stuff.
he's like, you won't get me again, you can't do this to me, I won't let you win. And
But
crazy
Ricky
stuff
gets away
like
from him that time, right?
Yeah.
So Ricky gets away from him and stuff. He's trying to blame Ricky for everything.
Yeah.
And so as they're pulling her out of the water, there's a bunch of little kids. How old would you say they are? Between the ages of 8 and 10, maybe?
I'd say like,
Maybe even younger.
yeah, like 5 and 10. Like they were young.
Yeah, they were
young
young kids. And so they start throwing sand at Angela and laughing at her and just giving her a hard time. And she's like soaked to the bone, and they're having to like pull her out of the water and walk her up there. And they're just, everybody at this place is horrible. They are all terrible people. I mean, even Paul is like, jeez. It's just Ricky and Angela all on their own at this joint. It's like you can't trust the adults. The little kids are terrible. The people, all the like older kids are horrible. I feel so sorry for Angela through this whole thing. It's like she's just trying to live, she's trying to survive, and she's not doing anything. She's quiet as a
She's
mouse.
just living.
She's on the sideline, just living her little life, and she just cannot be left alone. I feel so sorry for her for this whole entire movie. So after Angela is pulled out of the water by Ricky, Ricky like swears revenge on like everybody that's been just like antagonizing her, giving her a hard time. And then at another point, we see Meg, who's one of the counselors, way too young, right? But she blatantly hits on the camp owner. Now this guy is old.
Yeah, he's like in his mid-late 60s, I'd say.
Yeah, he's got to be, I'd say early to mid 60s. He's got gray hair. He's an older man. And no offense to the actor. not a handsome older man. And I can't tell why she wants to do that, but she's like blatantly hitting him.
Yeah.
So she's like, they make a plan to meet at a certain time because there's going to be like some kind of social going on that night.
Yeah, they plan to meet at the canteen.
Yeah. For like because it's supposed to be like a dance type of thing, and so everybody's going to be busy, but he gives some of them the night off, some of the camp counselors the night off, and so he, of course she's one of them. So they make a plan to meet up, and he's excited about it, of course, because he's a creepy old dude, because creeps rule in this this camp, you know. So Meg's somehow excited about this, and she wants to get a shower, but everybody's in line to get a shower because they're supposed to have a special to do, right? So she can't wait. So there's, at this point, several campers have left.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how it gets out, but it gets out, and I guess I don't know, the parents come and get them. But there's like about 25 campers left.
Yeah.
So they have an empty bunk next door. So Meg goes next door to get a shower because there's a line in the kids' bunk that she's in. So she's up there getting that shower.
And our killer comes and while she's showering, her back is to the door because their stalls are not like curtains or anything
They're
like
like
that.
cheap plastic.
Yeah.
Like coffin-like stalls that they're in with just like the little
Yeah.
curtain.
So our killer goes in there, and while Meg is washing her hair, the killer goes and stabs her through the door, the stall of the shower, and just rams it like all the way down.
It's a little stabby.
Yeah.
But I mean, like literally just and how this
Like
person
down
can
her
tell?
spine.
Well, how this person can tell that her back is against? Which I know it's small, but there's enough room for her not
It's
to have
all
her back against the wall.
coincidence.
Yeah, but like somehow this person knows, coming from behind, that it can actually. I guess this person can see through walls.
Yeah.
But
Apparently.
either way, come out and stab him just like
Yeah.
all the
Like
way
from the top of her like spine all the way down.
dead.
Yep.
So at this point, we're back at the camp social. Paul apologizes to Angela, and Angela asks him to meet her at the water. Then we cut to Mel, who is the camp owner once again, creep, and he goes and finds Judy in the bunk. Judy had been in there in the bunk. She had left the social with a boy, and they were trying to get it on, I reckon, and and they get interrupted by Mel. She throws the guy underneath the bed and tells him to shut up. So she's in the dark, saying she's got a headache. She left the social because she wasn't feeling good. He asks where Meg is, because he can't find Meg anywhere because they were supposed to meet up. So she said, last time I saw her, she went next door to get a shower.
And once Mel leaves, the guy from underneath her bed comes up, and I guess he's just like, you're mean. He just dips. He's like, I'm out. So then she's
Because
like,
she is.
yeah.
She's horrible.
So then she's just chilling by herself, and then the door opens, and our killer is on the other side, but she...
But wait. First, before that happens, Mel goes next door. Did that happen
Yeah.
before? Yeah. Mel opens the shower curtain. Look.
Yeah.
Dead Meg.
Mhm.
Dead Meg.
Dead big.
On the floor. Okay, so now we go back to Judy.
And then Judy, she's chilling in her bunk, and then the door flies open, the killer's on the other side.
What are you doing? I think that's what she says. What are you doing here? Like that.
It's you. What do you want? Well,
That. So she knows who the person is. And then, the piece de resistance. The thing that I don't remember how it happened, but I had to tell my kids that, I don't know, as a woman, it's just so jarring. It freaked me out so bad as a kid. So maybe that's a little something that stuck with me also. So just like, maybe I could say 3 things then, and just because this is just horrifying, but
Yeah.
wow. What a way to go.
Well, the kill happens. The killer starts to suffocate her with her own pillow, and Judy, for some reason in the dark, she was curling her hair. So she
In
was
the dark.
in the dark. Like, why would you choose to do that activity in the dark? We get you don't want to go to social, but do it some other time.
Like, if you're gonna go to bed immediately after this, what's the point?
Yeah.
Just sitting there curling your hair in the dark.
But she had a curling iron on, so while the killer was suffocating with her pillow, they decided to
How do you describe it?
I don't know,
Take that curling iron.
and shove it where the sun don't shine.
Yes.
Pretty much.
But in the female fashion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And they don't show anything, but you can
Horrifying.
see the silhouette of it all happening, the shadow on the wall, and then you can hear her screaming as she's being suffocated with the pillow as the killer is shoving it there. So
Well, what made me laugh was the fact that you see the shadow on the wall, and it's just her hand up in the air. Like, she's not grabbing whoever's doing this to her. She's not fighting. It's just a hand in the air, pillow over the face. That thing where it don't belong. And it's hot, y'all. It's plugged in. It's hot. And I don't know, maybe it's just as a female, it just really...
yeah,
Yuck. Wow. But like I said, I give this movie props for some
yeah, they're very creative.
extremely creative deaths.
Mhm.
Major props for that, because I can fix that.
Yeah.
Very sick person. You know what I mean? So after Mel finds Meg's body, he's very upset. You know, he was gonna get something. So he was and he's also very enraged because it's just killing his camp that he loves so much. And so he calls the cops come and they make search parties, which is like, if you have a killer on the loose, don't send a bunch of teenagers into the woods. You know what I'm saying? That's just asking for trouble. So the cops are out looking, and the kids are out looking, and Mel is out looking, so he gets in the woods, and who does he come across?
Ricky.
Poor Ricky. So what does he do? He's still blaming Ricky. He beats the tarnation out of that kid.
The tarnation. To the point where he is knocked out on the ground.
You bloody
cold.
Yes. And so after this happens, and I guess he's gonna go run to get the cops because he's blaming Ricky. He thinks Ricky's the one who's doing it all.
Even though he has no proof.
So what does he do? He runs out into the archery area. I'm sorry, but that is asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So he runs out there, and behind him is a target. Yeah. And he turns around and recognizes the killer. And about that time, when he's like, "What are you doing out here?"
Yeah.
They used to say that a lot to this individual.
Yeah.
And about that time, arrow through the throat.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, he sucked. But yeah, beating little kids and all that kind of stuff. It was valid. Yeah. Valid kill in this instance. What a creep. So at this point, the cops are in the woods searching. Angela is on the beach with Paul, and she asks Paul to go swimming with her. The things that happen next.
Yeah.
Wow. About this time, the police find Ricky unconscious in the woods, and they're checking on him. Also at this time, two of the camp counselors, Ronnie and Susie, find Angela humming on the beach. Her back is to them, and she's on the beach, and it's very dark. You can barely see anything, and she's humming, and she's holding Paul.
It's hard to describe.
Okay,
without us getting demonetized.
Yeah. This is the part that forever stuck with me.
I think it's stuck with everybody who watched this film.
Okay, I don't know what this means. I mean, it's child abuse, but modern times, things being what they are, subjects being what they are, this has nothing to do with that. But they find her, she is nude. She has her back to them. She's holding Paul, humming, and petting his head. And they ask her, "What are you doing here?" or something like that to that effect, correct?
What everybody else has been saying throughout
Yeah.
the film.
So all of a sudden, they don't show it. Her jumping up, turning around, and you realize Angela is not a girl. She is a boy.
Yeah, male presenting.
Yes. They do not censor this.
Yeah.
You see
everything.
And Paul is dead on the beach.
Yeah, whenever they jump up, Paul's head goes rolling because Angela has decapitated him.
Yeah, that's what she was holding in her lap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So, we flash back to the lake. The accident killed the girl and the father. And the one that survived was Peter, the little boy. Peter has head wounds. But he comes home from the hospital and he goes and stays with that very weird and strange, that won't do, aunt. So creepy lady, creepy. She decides, because she already has a boy, Ricky, she doesn't want another boy. That won't do. So she always wanted a little girl. This lady is cuckoo, bananas. And she decides to shape this little boy, forces him to be a girl. Grows the hair out, dresses him in a dress, and just forces him to present as a girl. It is really heart-wrenching. I mean, it's terrifying, and I understand what they were going for, but that is just blatant child abuse. It's so sad. It is so unbelievably sad. I mean, it's horrifying because whenever he is standing at the end, whenever they are like shocked with what they find, mouth wide open, hissing. I mean, he was completely gone. He was out of his head. And I wish I got to see something happen to the aunt, but you never see anything happen to the aunt.
Yeah, it cuts off very abruptly because it's just like a still image at the end of the movie of that just like scene. And they don't talk about if the camp counselors who found him got killed, if Angela was arrested and put away. They don't talk about any of that.
Well, I gather that they probably hollered for the cops. But the thing is Ricky didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Ricky was not, after Angela came back from the hospital, Ricky was somewhere else, I guess visiting his father or something like that. So he thought Angela was legitimately Angela, that Angela had survived, not Peter. So he did not know. He just thought that was his girl cousin he was trying to protect. So in the end, Ricky is alive, just unconscious as far as we know. Angela is alive, but it's not Angela, it's Peter. And that's where it drops off, just like you see the hissing form of a boy with long hair. You know? Now to see how many stabs we give Sleepaway Camp. Over in Slee.
Thank you. Today, we give Sleepaway Camp 2 stabs.
Question of the day. What horror movie kept you on the edge of your seat for the entire ride?
Edge of my seat. I think I'd have to say The Descent.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Boy, what a movie. That is Chef's Kiss. Such a good movie. Just claustrophobia.
Yeah, the grossness of it.
Yes,
The gore
it is.
is really good.
Oh, the gore is a 10, man. Yeah,
The special effects.
so good. Oh, just the close confines. It's like, I just have this thing about claustrophobia and this. Highly recommended. Watch it. If you have not, which I'm sure you probably have, but if you haven't, watch it. I'm not even. It's awesome. Alright. Audience question of the day. So put it in the comments. What movie traumatized you? Like this movie traumatized me as a child. So if you have one, please put it in the comment. We'd appreciate it. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Make sure you stay tuned for our next video, a continuation of our summertime slasher series. More bloody things to come.